Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're at. This is Christian Duque. You are watching the Iron Duque episode 5, brought to you courtesy of IronMagLabs.com, your go-to source for all your bodybuilding and fitness supplements. Also brought to you courtesy of Muscle Gels, topical muscle enhancement gels available at MuscleGels.com. And it happens to be that we have some of the gels to show you, starting out with Andro Hard, our Andro Epi-Andro blend that's going to help you build muscle, recover, and raise that libido up. We also have Andro Shred, a favorite of Chris Griffin. This one's going to get you shredded for the beach, shredded for the pool. It's 7 keto based, and it works. 7 keto is extensively researched. And of course, we got Gear, which I highly recommend you go over to MuscleGels.com and do your homework on Gear, because it is going to revolutionize the fitness industry. Today is Wednesday, March the 14th, and the very first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Big Frank Budaleski, pro bodybuilder, pro arm wrestler, movie star, who helped us out at the 30th Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, who is also the host of Ask Big Frank at IronMag.com, signed on the dotted line, and he is now a sponsored athlete with IronMag Labs. In fact, at the Arnold Classic, there was just like a bidding war. All these companies were racing to Big Frank. Some new, some old. They all wanted Big Frank. And, we were just so happy that he signed with IronMag Labs. We have so many plans for Frank in arm wrestling and bodybuilding at expos alongside Gregg Valentino with his show Ask Big Frank. It's going to be humongous. So it is a great accomplishment to have Big Frank as a sponsored athlete and to know that we are going to grow alongside him into 2018 and into the future. The next thing I want to talk about with 2018 is the Arnold Classic Australia. This is said to be the last time that Kevin Levrone, the Maryland Muscle Machine, will step foot on stage. And I talk to Kevin often on Instagram DM, on the phone, and honestly, Kevin is looking amazing. This is not just a fan speaking. This is not just a friend speaking. He is looking like just completely dialed in, and he's doing everything that he said he was going to do. He is running his own supplement company, and he's doing so well with that. He's on the expo circuit. He's working with muscular development. He's working with Generation Iron. He's on the bodybuilding stage, and he's bringing a physique that is actually scaring his competitors and really, enticing the fans to get behind the Maryland Muscle Machine movement. I mean, guys, understand that on Instagram, Kevin has over 600,000 followers, and he's not even following 300 people. I mean, that is emblematic of a superstar that he is. He is someone that was big in the 90s, big in the 2000s, big in the 2000 teens, and will be big forever. I mean, he is, I don't want to say the real deal because that's Chris Cormier, but, he is also a very real deal, a very big deal. Now, speaking of a very big deal, the past Gregg Valentino live, we saw Gregg starstruck. I mean, totally starstruck. This is a guy that just recently took a leak with Arnold. He was in the bathroom. Arnold comes in. Hey, Arnold, how you doing? It's like nothing. He sees Ronnie. He sees Phil. He sees Kai. Gregg is just, very relaxed. I mean, Gregg's been on, Tyra and Carson Daly and all 3 Generation Iron movies. And, so seeing Arnold is cool. But Rory Liedlmeyer came on the last 3 minutes of Gregg Valentino live, and Gregg was like, my gosh, he was sweating, he was hyperventilating. I mean, it was crazy. You got to watch it. I mean, all due respect to Gregg, but Rory was like an idol, is an idol to him, and Rory wants to do an interview with Gregg, and Rory doesn't just happen to go on like someone's random show, or he doesn't do that. I mean, in fact, Big Frank was on the show, and Big Frank was also starstruck. I mean, Rory Liedlmeyer, Mr. America. He was on Shaquille O'Neal's movie Kazam, which everybody loved. And it's like, this is a guy that, trains like top NFL people. This is a guy that was on all of the magazines. This is a guy that everyone in the 80s just wanted to like shake his hand. I mean, we're talking in the pre-digital age, the pre-internet age. I mean, everybody wanted to say they had met this guy. I mean, this guy was the real deal. So, the fact that he came on Gregg Valentino Live and the fact that he wants to do an interview with Gregg is huge for IronMag.com, because we would be honored, absolutely honored, to have an interview of our Gregg Valentino with Rory Liedlmeyer. I mean, that's something that, again, it's just something that you think about, but you never actually think could happen, and it can actually happen. Now, something else I want to talk about is Arnold. Arnold is fighting oil, but not synthol. He is fighting big oil, actually. And you guys know Arnold's an environmentalist and believes in global warming. I do too. I mean, we're not here to talk about politics, but you know, I think it's good to debate, and I think it's interesting. But I think Arnold is definitely he's actually suing the big oil companies, and it's a big how do you do about this. And I know the bodybuilding community is largely Republican, or at least that's I think how we see it sort of, but there's quite a few of us, you know, liberals, you know what I mean? And I'm not entirely a liberal. Like I'm not into gun control, for example. I like my personal freedoms. I'm not a huge fan of huge government. So I'm not like your stereotypical liberal, but I do have, you know, some liberal and some conservative and some libertarian and some green leanings. I'm an independent is really what I am. And that's really what Arnold is too. I know he's registered Republican, but come on. I mean, you know, if he is a Republican, he'd be a Rockefeller Republican, which is like a liberal Republican at best. But, you know, it's undeniable that Arnold is influential. It's undeniable that he's an excellent, excellent speaker. And it's undeniable that he's done more for bodybuilding than only maybe Ben or Joe Weider could have done more. But he's done that much. And so it's interesting to see Arnold take on the big oil companies. You know, I'm sure a lot of people, when they hear Arnold and big oil, they're thinking synthol. But no, he's not taking on those oil companies. But he's taking on, you know, the you know, the Exxon and the Mobiles and the, you know, the Shells and all of them. And he's saying that they're actually intentionally harming the planet and putting people's lives in risk. So it's an interesting fight for Arnold. I would love to see Arnold, you know, have the same zeal for sports enhancement supplements and just basically go to the Hill and go talk to Trump and President Trump and say, you know, listen, anabolic steroids and growth hormone and these products, they don't kill anybody. Nobody is like, you know, burglarizing pharmacies to get their fix. You know what I mean? Most of the people that use them are law-abiding citizens, a lot of which are police officers and firefighters and hell, maybe people in our military. You know what I mean? Good people, hardworking people, law-abiding people. Let them have big muscles. What the fuck does government care if they have big muscles or if they want to work out 5 days as opposed to 3 days because the supplements they're using help them recover quicker? I mean, it's really kind of asinine, you know? But of course, Arnold is probably not interested in that sort of crusade. But the fact is he's fighting big oil, and that's very interesting. And of course, here at the Iron Duque, me speaking, I'm going to include it. And finally, I want to talk about Anabolic Life. Now, Anabolic Life is a movie which is available on Amazon Prime. And of course, it's an anti-steroid movie. And it features Kali Muscle, from what I'm told. He's got a cameo in it or something. And a lot of people are surprised. How could Kali Muscle, not saying that Kali Muscle uses gear, but how could Kali Muscle, someone that loves bodybuilding, listen, you could be as natural as the fact that you don't take a single supplement. You can be so natural that all you take is you know, whey protein and creatine. But if you love bodybuilding, chances are you know a lot of bodybuilders that use gear. So if you love bodybuilding, I'm not saying you have to love gear, but you would be more understanding of people that use gear, and you would at least try to hope for, you know, some reform in terms of legislation and some reform in the way that the mainstream public looks at gear and supplements and creatines and all that stuff, right? I mean, just for being a fan of bodybuilding, I would think that you would at least have, you know, these sensibilities. And so a lot of people are like, well, how can Kali Muscle appear on a movie that's basically saying that steroids ruin lives and destroy families? I mean, how could he do that? Well, the same way that Jerome Ferguson could appear on a Planet Fitness commercial. Remember the Planet Fitness commercials used to attack bodybuilders and make bodybuilders out to be these mopes that basically just lift. I lift it up, I put it down. I lift it up, I put it down. Yeah, and people are like, how could Jerome Ferguson do this? How could he betray it? Because he was getting paid. Because he was getting paid. And because it was an acting job. And because he got on TV. Those Planet Fitness commercials were everywhere. And this Anabolic Life movie is probably going to go everywhere too. And it's probably going to be played by a lot of those gray-haired politicians that are writing those absolutely backward and pointless, senseless, factless laws that they create that put a lot of the people that we know in prison and subject a lot of the people that we know to pointless prosecutions, and that basically have our federal, state, county, and sometimes even city government apparatuses spending all sorts of taxpayer funds to regulate, criminalize, prosecute, imprison people for having any association with products that essentially hurt no one, kill no one, and could be taxed and could bring more money to the government. But I mean, it's just like one of those things, guys. To the people that appear on these types of films, that appear on the stupid Planet Fitness commercials, it's just a job. I know that we would like to live in a world where bodybuilders and those who love bodybuilding would have some semblance of loyalty to the sport, and that we would all be on the same page, moving together towards the future for a better, more sensible type of world. But that's just not the case. Money talks, my friends, and loyalties don't buy a lot of hot dogs. Unfortunately, it would be great if we had people that said, I won't take that role. I'm a bodybuilder. Fuck that. I'm not going to be in your stupid propaganda movie. I don't believe in that. But like I said, a lot of people, the money trumps the principles. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I am the Iron Duque. Till next week, check it out at IronMag.com and all the great shows in our arsenal. Peace out. Bye.